Welcome to the Wellness and Growth Journeys podcast. I am your host, Lisa Garnes, the founder of the Wellness Growth Agency, where we focus on empowering women-centered health and wellness businesses. And today, we are joined by Latrice Levitt, aka Nurse Blue. Absolutely love that name. So we're gonna call you Nurse Blue. Welcome, Nurse Blue.
Thank you.
Yes, Nurse Blue is America's soul health and wellness expert. So we can get into what that means today because that is very interesting. She is a registered nurse with specialized coaching certifications focused on mind and heart coherence. Now, with her powerful journey of overcoming chronic stress and trauma, she now helps others find true peace and well-being through mastering soul health. So ready for that. And welcome
Yes.
again, Nurse Blue.
Thank you for having me, Melissa.
No problem. I know through your journey, and it's so incredibly inspiring, right? Can you share exactly what led you to create Blue Light Coaching and Consulting with a focus on soul health as a way to overcome chronic stress?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for, first of all, having me. And, I was my own client. And so what led me to shift from, I would say, the traditional model of what health and wellness looks like here in the United States, I found soul health because I myself, my a lot of my life I struggled with chronic stress. And chronic stress leads to chronic disease. And chronic disease ran in my family, and I needed to find a way for it to run past me. And ultimately, what happened is that I was diagnosed with a disease. And the only choice I
Right.
had was to accept being on prescription drugs for the rest of my life, right? And so I was like, well, that's not something I want to sign up for. And so soul health was how I pretty much I healed my soul back to a place of health and wholeness. And that is where the solution was for me. And so blue light, when you hear about blue light, my name is Nurse Blue, and blue stands for I help build, love, unite, and empower people about my favorite subject, soul health. And so that's what blue light coaching is all about. Helping people turn up the light in their life so that they can turn up the health and turn up joy and peace and all those things that really support us in our health and well-being.
I love that. I love that so much. So tell us what is soul health? What does that mean? What is that?
I'm so excited to share this with you because, when we think about health, our medical system focuses on the human aspect of us and the human body. So when we think about our health, we're really looking at it from the physical standpoint. But, modern research has confirmed and older civilizations have always known that we are multidimensional. And so now we have a lot of people embracing the fact that we are spiritual beings that's having a human experience, right? So typically in health, we know we have a problem when, the doctors may run tests and the tests confirm that there is an issue. If it's a cancer in the body, if it's some other kind of health condition, whatever it may be, right? But before it manifests on the body, it first manifests on a spiritual level. And so, because we are spiritual beings, we are made of energy. And that energy, there are rules to energy. It can't be created, neither can it be destroyed. But also, we have a soul. And that soul is made up of three parts. So, soul health is about you taking responsibility for your life and really learning how to align your soul with health and wellness so you can prevent or reverse a disease that probably manifested in the body due to our number one enemy, chronic stress. And so that's what it's about. It's soul health is about you taking back your life from disease and you learning how to go inside of yourself and find out what might be at the root of this problem on a soul level. And that's why I say it's the solution, right? Because if you can reverse something, if you can reverse the disease at the source, or you can prevent it at the source, then guess what? That's the solution to, that condition. So that's what it's all about.
So you got diagnosed with chronic stress. Now, what does chronic stress actually look like? What does that look like? What are the symptoms? You know,
Absolutely. Well, interestingly enough, most people have learned how to embrace chronic stress as a part of life by navigating it, by managing or coping with it. All right. So chronic stress is when you take a regular stress and you remain in fight or flight for a very long period of time. That means, and what I mean by fight or flight, that's an imbalance in our body that takes place in our autonomic nervous system. So when you think about a common stress, let's just say you're driving down the street and someone cuts you off, and all of a sudden, you might feel a disturbance in your peace. It might shock you, it might scare you. You know what I mean? That can be a short term stress, right? And it's our way in which our body protects us, right? Okay. Now, chronic stress is when you remain in that state for an extended amount of time. And oftentimes what happens is that we have, particularly women, have been taught how to, manage chronic stress by either acting like we don't have it. So acting, being in denial of it, or saying, being strong and getting through it, or really just ignoring it. And what happens is chronic stress leads to chronic disease, right? So many of us have been taught not to take care of our chronic stress, or put it this way, to ignore it or to find short-time solutions like grabbing, over-the-counter medication, but that doesn't mean it goes away. And so over extended amounts of time, what it looks like is that maybe you can't sleep at night. It might happen. What it looks like is that maybe perhaps you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, hypertension. Maybe, over time you have inflammation in your body, because what chronic stress does is it increases the cortisol in our body. And what cortisol does, honey, when cortisol increases, so does belly fat. Okay, because she's coming with fat belly Felicia. Cortisol
oh
is not
no.
cortisol in high doses is coming with fat belly Felicia. So now she starts taking away your peace. She starts taking away how you feel about yourself. Now you snapping at the people in your house, your family getting on your nerves. All of this is because chronic stress is existing. And so then what we find ourselves doing, we start finding ways to cope with her. We start finding ways to manage her. And coping with her might be, finding distraction. Sometimes people pick up habits, bad habits like smoking or drinking, start beginning to occur around chronic stress. And so then you look up and you're going to the doctor, and then they're diagnosing you with pre-diabetes because she has, increased your blood sugar. You already, as I mentioned, fat belly Felicia has showed up, and now we're teaching our kids about how to live a life of imbalance, because what happens is this becomes habit forming. And so what we have to do is learn how to defeat chronic stress with chronic joy. And that's what soul health is all about. How to take back your life from the stress, give your stress a rest, and increase joy.
There are probably so many. Thank you for that. There's probably so many people who have this and don't know um, that is what's happening. Are there any other, I guess, telltale signs besides, lack of sleep and being snappy? And is there anything, I don't know, increased heart rate or anything like that that might be headaches? Maybe, I'm not sure.
If
Anything?
you just don't feel good, if you just feel off, you know, a lot of times we ignore what our body is trying to tell us. And when there's an imbalance in your system, as opposed to us ignoring it or pretending like we're Superman and woman and putting on a cape and acting like we're so strong we can get through it. We have to learn how to um to honor what our body is telling us. But overall, if you just feel like something is wrong with the your energy level, that's really like if you are like if you're tired during your day, like you feel like you're dragging during your day, like you're carrying weights in your spirit. And here's the other thing, what people don't realize is that now more so than ever, Maya Lisa, there are so many people out here that's living stressful, like just living a life filled with stress at work. Right. I'm a nurse, so we know that nurses work extremely hard to take care of our, of our patients. Teachers,
Yes, and thank you.
yes, absolutely. We are managing people, places, and things now more so than ever. Women, while you find that, there are a lot more women who are owning businesses, owning a business, leading a household, being a partner, the more responsibilities you have, the more energy you're putting out into the atmosphere. And what's happening is we are not recouping our energy. We are not living in a state of balance,
Exactly.
you know? And then also there's a lot of
Exactly.
fear out
Exactly.
here.
Agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's a lot of people, fear creates chronic stress. And when you look at what's happening in the world right now, if you turn on on any television set and you are watching the news, people are alarmed about what's happening in the world with wars and, the elections here in the United States and all of the things that is shaping the
The random
reality of our
shootings.
society.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
these are the things that society collectively are going through. And as spiritual beings, having human experiences, we are all being impacted by it. So it's very important that we start upgrading our wellness strategy. We're upgrading our phones, we're upgrading our technology with AI. We need to upgrade our wellness strategy for today's times. And that's what soul health is about. It's being intentional about not just taking care of the body, but taking care of the soul, because we create our reality out of our souls, quite frankly.
Yeah. I believe so too. And it reminds me a little bit about, I guess, what we call traditional medicine as opposed to the Western medicine. How does, soul health differ for that? Or is it pretty much using those techniques of traditional medicine?
Well, here's what's interesting. In some places in traditional medicine, they're using the language of soul health, because when we start talking about things like mindfulness and health and well being, those are terms that are associated with soul health. You may even find that there are some healthcare centers that are emphasizing yoga, doing deep breathing. Those are tools and modalities also used in soul health. But I would say it has to go beyond that. Yeah, it has to go beyond that, because soul health at the core is truly learning how to love your soul back to health. So that's where it's non-traditional, it's a split, because in the traditional model here in the United States, we don't even talk about the soul. Like that whole concept is not even included in our curriculum,
It's
right?
yes, no, it's mainly spoken about really, I guess, in when it comes to religion and in
Right.
the religious spheres. But yeah, outside of that, no one talks about the soul. Right.
Absolutely. And that's where the healing takes place, right? So where we go, we might go is in terms of the Western model, it starts on a cellular level for us. Well, the soul is like this invisible organ that has its own set of rules, right? And it's made up of three parts. It is made up of our subconscious mind, which is where our beliefs are stored, right? It's made up of our emotional body, so our emotions matter. And it's also our will. Those are the patterns of our behavior, our habits. So when our subconscious mind and our emotional body and our habits are in alignment, now we're living our best life. We're feeling good. we are in optimal health and wellness, right? Where the problem
Yeah.
lies is when we are not in alignment. And that's where chronic stress is usually at the root of that. Because what we don't realize is that when we're out of alignment, meaning we're saying we want to accomplish this, but our emotions are not in the right place. Or let's just say in the case of chronic stress, many of us are, waking up every day working hard, but maybe suffering from beliefs of unworthiness or beliefs of fear,
Mm,
right? And not
yeah.
really. And
Yeah.
then on an emotional level, you know, all of us are going through our own personal journey. So there are women right now are in positions of power in many instances where not only are they taking care of their own lives, but they're managing children right now that are navigating this new world that we're living in, right? We have partners, we have, clients, and now we're taking on those responsibilities, and that's all in our within our emotions, right? And then we have the habits that we've adopted through life. Well, right now, maybe what you used to do is not quite working for you. And you didn't realize that you can't take this habit with you if you want to, if you want to achieve optimal health. So when we have conflicts in those yeah. So when we have conflicts in those three areas, usually that's where the stress lies. And once people understand that, they will understand that what's our responsibility to take care of in ourselves and what the doctor's responsibility is. Because if there's a problem where you're going to your doctor's office and let's just say you're being diagnosed, usually what's going to happen is the doctor is going to give you a prescription drug, right? And most people, depending on what the situation may be, might be okay with prescription drugs short term. But long term, we know that there could be a lot of adverse effects to being on a prescription for a long term, right? Might not work out well for you. Well, to prevent that from happening, Soul Health could be helpful to you in resolving that if you don't want that to be an outcome for you. Because I know I didn't want to sign up to be taking prescriptions for the rest of my life when I was diagnosed with psoriasis. And that's why Soul Health that's why I'm so, passionate about it, because I found a way out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if that was the pivotal point for you. Like what, yeah, what when did you literally get up and say, no, enough of this, I need to do something about this? And then how then did that change your life for you?
What I realized back when I was diagnosed with psoriasis is and I will tell you this. Many people have autoimmune deficiencies that are triggered by stress, right? So for me, I said, if stress is the trigger, maybe stress is the reason why I was diagnosed with this disease. I mean, at that point, I was eating relatively well, but then later on, I found out that I wasn't. After I dived into this, I was working out, and I was doing everything I was taught to do to take care of my body, right?
Isn't that something? Isn't that
Yes,
something though? That you're told you gotta do this, you gotta do this, exercise at least 3 times a day, at
yes,
least half an hour. You eat this, you gotta get your vegetables in, you gotta get your protein in, and then you're still not happy.
absolutely. And then I was terrified, my Lisa, because chronic disease ran in my family. So I have family members who have been diagnosed with diabetes and heart disease and cancer and rheumatoid arthritis and everything. Like my family, when you see that list of things to check off in the doctor's items, honey, we checking off all of them, right? And I just did not
Oh
want that to be
no.
me. No, girl, I just did not want that to be me. And so for a few years, for several years, I was on the traditional meds because they did help to regulate my psoriasis. Then I got pregnant with my daughter, and my doctor said, listen, we know it works for you. What we can't tell you is if you remain on this med, what's going to happen to your baby. So it's really up to you on this because there are no studies out here to say.
Okay, okay,
Okay. So when I came off my med,
okay.
70% of my body was covered in psoriasis lesions to such an extent that I could not,
What?
Yes, to such an extent I could not breastfeed her without for as long as I would have liked. Otherwise, it would have probably grown to 100%, right? And I said, this is just not a way for me to live where my standard, my quality of life, my crutch is going to be a med. And then you can't tell me if in fact I come off, if I take it with my daughter, if it's going to affect her. And so that was just too much power in anybody's hands. And so I decided to go deeper and start really diving into, things that were non-traditional but that were holistic in nature. And then I realized that for me, if I knew how to balance my chronic stress, then I could prevent this from happening. And so it was many years where I would detoxification. I learned that detoxification was a huge part of the process. I also realized that at the root of chronic stress, I was housing too many joy killers. Joy killers, okay?
Okay.
Yes, because the more joy killers you have in your life, the more chronic stress you
Right.
have in your life. And I had joy killers, girls, sitting up in the front
Mm.
pews of my life, coming from my joy all the time, right?
Say no comfortable.
Hello, like they were showing up for church every day, right, in my life, right, and I had to,
Right.
and I really had to, really understand what true self-love was all about. And so as I began to embrace these a new way of thinking, where I was owning my thoughts, my emotions, and my habits, and fully taking responsibility for my health, and learning about doctors and other health practitioners in the world of soul health and implementing them. Girl, I started having so much success. I learned about learned about the systems of the body that, chronic stress really has an impact on. And one of them we're not even trained about here in the United States. It's called the endocannabinoid system. Yes. So it's called the endocannabinoid system. Scientists found out about this system over 30 years ago. And it's like a bioneural system that modulates all the systems in our body. And so when it's out of balance, you're going to have some kind of imbalance in the body. And when it is in a state of balance, you're going to have ease and homeostasis. And then another system of the body that I learned through soul health was the chakra system. So when I learned about these other systems of the body that helped to maintain balance, and when I dived into, best practices for nursing these systems back to health and wholeness, honey, I have been able to lose over 30 pounds and keep it off. I've been able to detox my body, change. Yes, absolutely. Because I realized that what I was missing, Mia Lisa, was I was suffering from a joy deficiency. And that was at the root of my chronic stress because I was always looking for happiness. I was searching for happiness under all costs, but joy is really what I was missing. And that's really at the root of how we can defeat chronic stress, not live with it. Why are we teaching people to cope with a killer? How to manage a killer? Who wants to do that? You know what I mean? And it's not working for us, right? So so soul health is really about, after you take ownership of your soul's health, learning how to elevate your soul, learning about the nutrition of your soul, what keeps it alive and healthy and happy, and that's keeping it in a high vibrational state. And then I began to have so much fun with it. I was like, honey, we're missing out. This is really what the real health is all about right here. Vibrational frequency. And it's been wonderful for me in terms of helping establish joy and balance in my own life, but my clients and the results that I've been getting from helping them has been fantastic.
It really sounds like uncharted territory for me. So I'm just like listening because I'm like, whoa, okay, I didn't know that. And when you talk about chakra, that's kind of Asian medicine in a way, right? So it's interesting because it's pulling from that, right?
Yes. Well, traditionally, that's what we associate the chakra system, is Eastern medicine, right? So and I have an appreciation for both models. But I find that Eastern methodology focuses more on healing. So when you think about us being spiritual beings, we're made of energy. So if we have energies for the body, if we have systems for the body, like, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the immune system, wouldn't we have a system for our for our energy? And that's the chakra systems, right? And yes, absolutely. And so there's 7 chakra centers in our body, and each of these centers, when you think about how our energy flows, it impacts all of the vital organs of the body. So before there is heart disease in the body, there's spiritual heart disease. Before there is cancer in the body, cancer shows up as dis-ease in the soul. And when you begin to understand how energy flows through through the chakra centers, how to balance that energy, and how to release dense energy that um, shows up as blocks in our flow, then you're able to learn how to truly take, authority over your thoughts, over your emotions, so that you can have more ease and more flow in your body. So it's all connected, and that's the missing link there. And that's why I'm so excited about the time we're living in, because this is not these are things I'm learning for doctors, from neurosciences, from peer reviewed research here. Now, why it's not making it to our doctors' offices in the times that we need it, I don't know.
I was just gonna ask because if they know, why aren't they sharing that? When where they're not offering a more holistic outlook on health? And I mean, okay, maybe there's some other things behind why that is happening, like the pharmaceuticals and pushing that and the money and that kind of thing. But I am not against like a holistic I guess treatment. So yes, there's medicine, but then also there's these other techniques that work in tandem, which I think is what traditional medicine does, right? So I mean, don't block it all together. You know what I mean? Like do have it there as an option for people to go on, because not everybody wants to take medicine and drugs for the rest of their life, right? They want alternatives, and that's why they're seeking. I know, right? I know. So, so people are gonna turn from the doctors and seek other, especially when you're dealing with chronic anything chronic. Um, yes, I find people are seeking like, nah, there must be some way out of this. Now you telling me to take that I gotta take medication for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And there are people who, um natural health over the last few years have really gained a lot of attention. But this has been happening for thousands of years, where people have been finding their wellness solutions off of the plants, that from herbs and from
Right.
fruit, and
Exactly.
and from
Exactly.
right. So this is biblical. This is nothing that is new for us. We're just going back to the truth here, that and finding some more organic ways to solve our problems. Now, here's what I can tell people is that, joy is described as medicine in the Bible. So who are we to call God a liar? You know what I mean? It is something that is described in Proverbs 17:22. A joyful heart is good medicine, and a crushed spirit is dry to the bone. So a crushed spirit is, I would say, chronic stress that takes over the soul. Right. And that's why, right now people have to understand that 98% of chronic diseases, my Elisa, they're preventable. They're reversible. 98% of chronic diseases don't even have to happen. So what is the missing link? The, this is the missing link. And so, I really want people to understand that now is a time that I share this acronym to help people understand that at the root of truly defeating chronic stress, I write about it in my book, Freedom is a Frequency. It's 5 simple steps. It truly is. And and it goes back to the belly. Like everything is birthed through the belly. So the acronym is belly, right? So B,
Right, belly. Okay.
belly, right. B, we have to learn and respect balance. We're doing too much and we're moving so fast. And we're trying to put 100 things on a task list and get a prize medal for working ourselves into a state of disease. We have to learn how to appreciate balance. But balance what, Nurse Blue? You have to learn how to balance.
I was I was just gonna say, I guess maybe all the tasks that you have, work and life, because we talk about work life balance a lot. So
Well, but you have to learn how to balance your gut. Quite frankly, like if you look down and you have fat belly Felicia right there looking back at you, know that right there is an imbalance. She's trying to take over, right? So if people are like, I don't have any stress, girl, look down. If she's looking back at you, then we have some imbalance, and don't let her get away with it. So once you see her, you say, no,
bye,
girl,
Felicia.
girl, Felicia, I'm about to say bye to you. You're not about to snatch my fan away from me, baby. I'm about to go back and get her, right? So know that so know that Felicia has to be put in her place. So you balance by looking down and saying, okay, I got to do something with that, which means we got to start detoxing. So detoxing on a holistic level. All right. So once we balance and we decide that it's time for us we're going to balance that chakra system. We need to balance that endocannabinoid system. And detoxification means we want to clean that entire digestive system. Because a lot of times what we don't realize is that what's contributing to our stress are the foods we're eating.
Right, right,
We're eating a lot of foods that have a lot of chemicals, and every one of those
right.
chemicals are taking on some kind of process on our body that we don't even realize
Mm,
could be contributing to the stress, and it could be creating dis-ease in the body,
right,
right? The next thing we have to learn how to do in
right,
terms of
right,
that belly acronym is we need to eliminate the source of the chronic stress. So that's where we're dealing with our joy killers. We have to
right.
become very honest with, are there thoughts, beliefs that we are carrying that's not serving us, about how we're showing up and what we want in this life and what we don't want and all of that. We have to be able to look at those. We have to be able to look at the emotions that might be contributing. There are a lot of people who are suffering from fear and anger and bitterness. We're holding on to the past. We're afraid of the future. We're afraid of the present moment. Those frequencies are fear-based frequencies, and they unfortunately are very dangerous to our health, because those emotions,
Well,
what people don't realize is that our thoughts are powerful. We're always transmitting information out there. But when we're feeling those harsh emotions, we're also attracting things back to us. So we have to understand there's laws to understanding how mind and heart coherence work, right? When the mind and the heart are working together, we have to understand that, and that's through soul health we teach that. So eliminating the source on the soul level is what we have to do. We have to be willing to learn some new things. Doctors and nurses and tech and medical practitioners, honey, they call it medical practice because we're still practicing. We don't know it all. We don't know it all. Okay? I mean, and we're not really solving problems. We may be coming up with short time solutions, but not really healing problems, right? We're fixing, not healing. So that means that the client, we have to learn some things that are different. So perhaps learning about chakras, learning about how to learning and embracing the soul health could be your solution, because it is that it then you can start there, right?
right, right.
And here's one thing I really encourage: the next L, we have to learn how to listen to our bodies, my Lisa. We have to learn how to listen to
Yes,
our bodies,
yes,
especially
yes.
women. You know, the days of pretending like a problem does not exist, or feeling like you're going to get a badge of honor or an award for, waking up every day, putting on your cape while your body is screaming, I need some rest, I am not well. We can no longer do that to ourselves, because
Listen,
that self
yeah,
love is so needed. And learning how to
yeah,
love yourself is learning how to listen to yourself, and then why?
understood.
And the last thing, why? You got to say yes to life. Yes to life, and know what that means. There are people now who are living to 100. I was reading about a woman who's living to 115. And so people are living longer, which is good. But how well are they? Do you know how to live and thrive? As you get older, you do not have to get sick. But that is because
True, true.
you do not have to get sick. So, in order for us to understand that the time we're living in right now requires us to upgrade our wellness strategy, that means choose life. Don't say things like, I want to become the best version of myself, and don't sign up to become the best version of yourself. Become the best version of yourself by embracing soul health and wellness and learning what this lifestyle is all about, so we can pass it on to the next generation, because that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that not only is our society having these health challenges and people are dying before their time and being diagnosed with preventable diseases, but I am also concerned that we're passing these habits down to the next generation, because our children are becoming sicker and sicker. We never heard of children having, the problems with diabetes at the rate that high blood pressure. Children, obesity. There's a problem, and we all have to work together to solve it. So, soul health is the solution, honey.
The older generation, they definitely used to live off of the land. I do remember, and it's interesting. You said soul because in my mind I'm thinking soul food. And I know in America that's probably a little bit different for
No,
here.
that's real.
But a lot of, yeah, I just remember like skinning. I don't know if you ever had like cassava or um well, English potatoes, of course, pumpkin. There's so many different ground provisions is what we call them that we would have in like soup and like for food that I wasn't a fan of when I was younger. But I definitely loved it when I got a little bit older. And the older generation would eat those types of foods, right? They weren't into the fast food. They weren't into going out and eat and that kind of thing. Like they would cook their own meals, they would grow their own food. So the generation that I'm in right now is that doesn't happen. I don't know the last day I hear about people growing their own food, right? And if they do, it's one in a few. So I think that might be the shift there when it comes to getting nutrition from the food that we eat these days, or actually eating more chemical food than anything else. I mean, there's some so-called like fruits and vegetables that you would buy that would last 2 weeks. And I'm like, buy this lasting 2 weeks? Was it like apples or something like that? Right. It doesn't make sense. So it would have to have something on it or in it to make it last longer. And then the other thing too is that the colors, like it will look really pretty and that kind of thing. Still, even though 2 weeks are gone, it's like, hey, what's happening? So there is a lot of I guess truth to the our foods now being um, was it the city jet? Yes. And so that's why people got put the non-GMO on their things, because yeah, that is a reality. Because all right, here in Barbados we import a lot of food, right? So in order for it to last the whole journey here, and then you put it out in the supermarket, and then we buy it, and then we put it home. like they're gonna have, I don't know, they most likely would inject it with some sort of preservative or something so that it will last longer. So I think that might be what we're dealing with here. And yeah, I had a conversation with, I think it was a nutritionist, and she was talking about like trying to find out where your food comes from and that kind of stuff. And that yes, is easier said than done in my opinion, because when you go to the supermarket, you're going to buy what you need for the week, and unless I go to the cashier and be like, so do you know if this beef was grass fed or I mean like this. I don't know. You gotta ask these suppliers, and you gotta find out who these suppliers are. So to me, it's easier said than done, and it would take like a huge effort on your part to actually make sure that what you're consuming is good for you. I don't know if you have any help tips or anything advice along that.
Well, honey, I think that you, as you express, you get the problems that you guys are having there in Barbados, we're having the same problem here in the United States. Food is a major controversy because you do have a lot of information out here that supports the fact that these chemicals are harmful to our bodies. A lot of our produce, as you stated, has chemicals on it to preserve the life of the fruit or the vegetable, and the body has never had to digest as many chemicals as it is taking on, right, as we force it to take on right now, whether it's through our foods or our environment, or even the things we put on our bodies, our shower gels and soaps and perfumes, and it's a very toxic time on planet Earth, right? And it is causing us to become more informed. And it is, to a large extent, a lot of work. But it's easier now than it probably has been in the last 30 or 40 years, because you have a growing number of people who are making different choices around consumption of meat. They are making different choices around even buying land here in Florida. There are people who are buying land and going back to farming, as a way of managing this. So, yeah, so it all really depends on, it's all about choosing life. If you know that your habits, again, it's going back to taking responsibility for your health. If you know that the habits that you have right now is increasing the number of meals that the number of pills that you're taking, because life and death is in the power of the tongue, not only by what you say, but also what we're
But what you
eating.
eat,
What
yeah,
we're
yeah,
eating, right? And
right.
a lot of times what's happening on a soul health level, when there are imbalances on our soul and our soul's health, we are oftentimes turning to food as a way to manage our discomfort in life. And let's face
That's
it,
true.
yeah, and
That's
because
true.
when you talk about soul food, I grew up, honey, on soul food, and my mother was the best soul food cook, I believe, in the state of Mississippi. And Mississippi here in the United States, honey, have some great cooks, right? But how did they love us
Right.
with that food? They loved us with that food, with putting extra butter and extra sugar, and extra butter and extra sugar, things that would destabilize our blood sugar, and perhaps contribute to creating some kind of con- creating imbalances in terms of blood flow, you know what I mean, over time, with that arteriosclerosis, right? When people start having plaque build up in
Right.
there, it oftentimes that comes from eating, animal meat over periods of time. It comes from fried foods, and my mother cooked the best food that contributed to those types of to chronic disease, right? So it was so hard for
Right.
me at first to embrace a different diet, because not only did I love her cooking, which was fried chicken and sweet potatoes and collard greens and all of these great things that would be a part of our
Yum,
culinary
yum, yum.
experience. Yes, our culinary experience here in
Right.
the
Right.
States. I also know that, in terms of our family history, one of the things that we had in common is that my family loved these types of foods, and these foods were becoming a problem in our health. right? So there are definitely changes that we are being forced to make, because when you choose life, I can't negotiate
Yeah.
with having, that at one time I would have meat with every, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right now, I only have at certain times of the year. I've cut it back considerably because of the things that I have learned about my blood type does not agree with my eating habits. But guess what? I feel
Interesting. Interesting.
yes. So
So there's like certain foods for certain blood types.
exactly. And those are the things we've not been taught. You know what I mean? Those are the things that the average person, not only does the average person not know this, but we weren't trained on this information. When I went to nursing school, I went to an excellent nursing school. And many doctors here in the States have not been taught about, blood typing and nutrition. Haven't been taught, as we mentioned, about the endocannabinoid system. So we can't wait. We don't have the time to wait for, science to catch up with sharing this, not necessarily sharing this information because it's out there, but the medical system embracing this information. We have to take it upon ourselves and start learning how to do these things so that we can make sure that we preserve our health and well-being, and the health and well-being of our family and our, especially.
I'm realizing that now too because yeah, having these conversations with you amazing women, and teaching me about like the different, the different, I guess what I want to say techniques or paths of health and wellness. You're realizing that not only were you guys not taught, but when you go to the doctor, this is not the conversations that we are having, right? It's like these are the symptoms. We give you the meds to treat the symptoms, and then you go. There are only, I guess, when I had a traditional medicine doctor on that she said, "Hey, look, but you need to look at it holistically and see what really is going wrong from the root of it because we want to heal the person as opposed to just treat these symptoms." And the other thing that she said that was so powerful was that she was in a situation where she then had to be treated and she was in the hospital. And then she realized that the doctors just saw her symptoms but didn't see her. And I thought that was such a powerful statement because then it made her and informed how she then grew her practice. It's like she wants to see the individual and what it is that they're going through in their lives, and what their habits are, like you're mentioning, and then see how she can give a holistic diagnosis of what's really happening um, with them. So I completely agree that there needs to be more done, but yes, no, we're gonna have to seek it for ourselves before, yeah, medicine kind of catches up with us. So for many of our listeners, right, who are women over 35 and who are facing, these stressful lives, because you say you're wearing different hats, wife, mommy, you probably got your own business or not. Probably you're working a 9 to 5, but then you got like a side business. You know what I mean? Then you want to maintain like, your friendships and then your family lives and all that. So what advice would you give to them about beginning their journey towards a better soul health and finding peace in their lives? What advice would you give to them, us? Let me include myself.
Yes. Well, first of all, but the first thing I want to say is my best advice is know that soul health matters before everything. Your soul matters. And also,
Yes.
yes, soul health matters. And so, what you want to do is start embracing learning the art and science of mastering joy. Because when you make that your priority, everything else is going to fall under it. Because learning how to master your joy is owning the responsibility of loving your soul back to health. And what I really love about teaching people about joy is that it's inside of you already. You don't have to go outside to find joy. You don't have to find it in another person, a place, a thing. It's yours. And once you really become activated in the idea of I deserve joy, I deserve joy, I deserve joy, I invite people to have to join me for a sound healing experience. I do free sound healing experiences because what people don't
That's
understand
awesome.
is yeah, because sound healing is a wonderful modality to really help to rewire the soul, and to infuse high vibrational frequencies. I mean, we love music. What's a party without music? It's
True.
not a party. You know what I mean? Go to a
It's
reception
true.
after a wedding. Everybody is waiting to do our favorite line dances and bring us together. And that is why, we have global superstars like, Beyonce and others, because their music lifts us, right? So I am a sound healer. And for people who want to embrace soul health, music is a beautiful way to fine tune your frequency. So I host I Deserve Joy parties to help people bring people globally together on the app Clubhouse. And I host them as
I
a
love
Tuesday.
that.
Yeah, so I host those experiences on Tuesdays. It takes place at noon Eastern time, which is brunch here in the States. And and I also have a I Love Me self-love party because soul health is about learning how to love your soul back to health. And that's on Wednesdays. I do that at 11 a.m. And then from there, I invite people to take the I Deserve Joy challenge, where I introduced, how to elevate. If you want to learn how to do this, I'm going to show you how to elevate your energy, your health, your confidence, your relationships, your abundance with joy. It is truly an art and a science. And once people really understand the art and science and joy, you'll realize that, honey, that's how we're going to create heaven on earth, because Nurse Blue didn't come here to live in hell. I didn't come here to do that. Women around the
Right.
world, if we master joy, you'll defeat chronic stress, because joy and fear cannot exist in the same space. Joy and anger, joy and unforgiveness, joy and shame and guilt, and all of those things that I regard as fear-based emotions. What I tell people all the time is that the word of God says that perfect love casts out all fear, right? It's in the word. So look at this as you are learning you are learning the power of how unconditional love can be used as a healing force for your soul to bring it back into alignment. And with that, you begin to learn about the thoughts and the emotions and the habits that align with joy. Once you begin to operate in that, your life will be transformed and we will achieve optimal health and wellness when you decide to give joy the authority over your life.
I love that. I'm gonna have to take. I missed the Tuesday and the Thursday, but I'm gonna have to make sure I make the Tuesday one because that sounds amazing, especially for lunchtime. I think that'll be
Yeah.
lunchtime over here too.
And you
So
know
what
what?
happens in these parties?
Well, girl, it is so I love them. I absolutely love them. So on Clubhouse was really a an app that a lot of people found during COVID. And it's a real cool experience because you can go in and select your club. And my club is called the Soul Health and Wellness Club, right? So when you go on Clubhouse and you look for the Soul Health and Wellness Club, become a member. And what we focus on are sound healing experiences to elevate the soul. And what happens in these parties, people from all over the world, women and a few good men, because men can be invited to these parties. They come from all over the world to hear beautiful music that I refer to as the blue dose, right? So the blue dose, I have a song to build you, I have a song to love us, a song to unite us, and a song to empower us. And these are incredible artists. Like, I'm really good at what I do. My dad, actually, Mia Lisa, my dad was a musicologist as well, and he actually crowned Aretha Franklin the Queen of Soul. So if you go and look up how, Aretha Franklin being crowned, you're going to see my dad putting the crown on her head, right? So
Oh, nice. I have to do that. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. So
So there's a picture out there. There's a picture. There's an actual picture out there.
yes, he was huge here in the United States, working in the entertainment industry, and you know, a lot of what I've learned about music, I learned through him. And also, I wrote a book on this, and so people can go to Amazon and learn and find my book. Freedom is a frequency. There it is, right there. Freedom is a frequency, and it's a music, yeah, and it's a musicology journal. So what I do, I share different songs that help elevate your chakras so that you can learn and start experiencing the power of sound healing and how it can be used to help to reset your frequencies and align with more peace, more joy, and more abundance. And then, you know, as I stated before, once you take the I Deserve Joy challenge, I am actually now building a community of women who, you know, this is their main focus is learning how to do what they do, which is leading households and businesses and communities from a space of joy, not from a space of stress, not from a space of being burnt out and overwhelmed, but from a place of power and joy where we're working together to lift each other up so we can be healthier.
Love that. Woman power.
Thank you. Thank
Girl
you.
power.
You got to come and be a part of the parties.
Listen, you got me ready. You got me ready. I've never heard about anything like this, so I am very, very intrigued. And
Yes,
what
and
I'll do is that
I have replays. So for people, if you can't make the live experience, they can come in there and listen to a replay. I have tons of replays there as well.
okay, okay. So what I'll do is that I'll probably get you to share me these links, and then we could post them on this video or in the description box on YouTube, so that people will be able to take part of these sessions. Well, Nurse Blue, thank you so much. We've gone through so many things in our short discussion. But to me, the one thing that stands out is like we need to get our joy and balance. Balance, belly, Felicia, fat belly Felicia.
We got to say bye. We got to say bye to her.
Bye, Felicia. Uh, and just yeah, going on a journey to just look to see what the root of all of our issues are. And you say it starts with the gut most of the time. So we need to
Yes.
do a little research into that. And then of course, if anybody needs any help, you are here to guide and help us live better, healthier, happier, joy filled lives. So thank
That's
you so
right.
much again for coming on the show. And I want to say to the listeners and new viewers, thank you also for joining us for another awesome episode. And if you're inspired to elevate your health and wellness business, the Wellness Growth Agency, founded by yours truly, is here to help. We specialize in targeted, tailored digital marketing strategies to enhance your client engagement and grow your practice. So, if you are interested in unlocking your potential, you could visit us at www.wellnessgrowthagency.com to learn more, or you could just reach out to me anywhere. I am everywhere: LinkedIn, IG, TikTok, YouTube. The only thing I don't know is Morse code and smoke signal. But you reach out to me anywhere and we'll be able to help you. So thanks again, Nurse Blue. Have an
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on another Wellness and Growth Journeys podcast. Now, if you're inspired to elevate your health and wellness business, the Wellness Growth Agency is here to guide you. We specialize in tailored digital marketing strategies to enhance your client engagement, grow your practice, and improve overall satisfaction. Let's unlock the potential of your business together. Visit us at wellnessgrowthagency.com to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more insightful episodes. Until next time, keep thriving and remember, wellness is a journey. Growth is the destination.